We have joining us now Ambassador Lawrence Ikehi. He is the National President of Nigerian Students and Youth Association. Good evening, Ambassador Lawrence. Welcome to We the 77%. So we are actually looking at the government reform as regards to NYSC, how they are seeking to extend the camp stay from the usual or the regular 3 weeks to 6 weeks, after which they are posted to their places of primary assignments for 11 months. Is it 11 months now? Yes. Before they complete the NYSC scheme. What would you say are the key reasons behind the federal government's decision to reform the NYSC after more than 50 years?
I would say that this is one of the best policies that the federal government of Nigeria is taking in the past 50 years. Because if you look at this reform policy, you will see that there's a way the government has been able to adjust the program so that students that have just finished tertiary institution can be able to learn entrepreneurial skills, can be able to develop themselves just so that they can have competitive advantage in the marketplace. People who go for the NYSC camp before the 3 weeks camp, I don't think if they want to, teach them something like innovative ideas or entrepreneurship skills, 3 weeks is not enough. So I'm sure that's why the federal government has extended it to 6 weeks, so that they can learn practical skills, so that when they come out of the camp, they can have something tangible doing, even when they have been posted to their place of primary assignments. Something like handwork, something like an entrepreneurship skill. And it will also help them to prepare for the future, because it's actually the future that the purpose are sent to the camp to prepare for. So I think it's a welcome development from the federal government and the youth minister.
Now, I know that many young Nigerians are asking whether the monthly allowance will increase if the orientation period becomes longer. Is there any indication that the government is also considering this?
Of course, the government must be considering that, because if you look at the whole idea behind the extension, you see that the government is not only planning to increase the stipends given to the corpers, but they are also planning to increase their ideas, which will give them more finance in the future. If the corpers are being trained, they have been trained in entrepreneurship skills, that's a lot. That has a long way to go for the students in the future, being that it will help them to have creative skills that will help them to better their lives, that will put food on their table. Even if their stipend is not increased, that will also increase their livelihood in the future. So the government is looking at the future, not just the present, which is a welcome development as well. I think it's a welcome development from the government to do that.
With the current cost of, transportation, say feeding, and even other living expenses, how do you think core members can realistically manage financially if they spend 6 weeks in orientation camp before starting work?
Well, I think if the government for the students, the core member, to spend that number of time, then it is okay. But if it's left for the students to fend for themselves in this period of time, I don't think that's a nice move from the government. I think the government should be able to foot the needs of the students, their accommodation, and their feeding for the 6 weeks in camp, so that they can, go about to learn whatever the government is planning for them. Another key point that I found really fascinating is the change of their uniform to their interior. I met a student yesterday. She was actually discussing this particular issue with me, asking why is it now that it's their turn that they will now not wear the khaki. They are now going to use the Ankara, So I think, for the government, it's a nice one. They want to improve the fashion industry of the country so that the fashion textiles can have more patronage. But, a lot of students look forward to this khaki, and now that they are scrapping it out of use, I think they really need to apologize to the students, sincerely, because there's this mindset that the khaki wearing gives to the graduates, and now they want to scrap it and introduce something else all of a sudden. That should be the reason why they should increase their stipends. Yeah, that should be one of the reasons why the stipends should be increased. And because of the insecurity issues across the country, When you are posting a copper, for instance, to Jigawa, to Borno, to Benue, to these places that have insecurity, you must consider the cost of their movement. You must consider their feeding allowance. You must consider the risk of their lives as well. And now you are changing the uniform that they have always known, the known uniform for ages. You want to change it to something else. There should be some form of compensation to the students and the corps members. That's what I think.
Very well said, Ambassador. Finally, before we let you go, beyond extending camp duration, what additional reforms, such as maybe improved welfare, as you've mentioned, what other reforms, do you think should or is necessary to ensure that NYSC truly prepares young Nigerians for life after service?
I think the NYSC should think of creating more job opportunities for the corps members after leaving the camps. Companies should be brought into Nigeria. The companies that they are planning to, empower, which is the textile industries, they should create more textile industry so that the corps members who are wearing those Ankara can actually go back there to work when they are done with their service. They should create more innovative thinking. They should create some ICT departments. More companies should come to the country so that after the corps are finished risking their lives serving, they should have somewhere to work. It's not about reforming the NYSC. It's about reforming our employable markets. They should improve employment. Federal government should start thinking of creating more jobs rather than just reforming NYSC. NYSC is not the end of the road. NYSC is just a process for the graduates to have transformation, to earn the capacity for them to be employed. So they should look at the end, which is the employability of those candidates, of those NYSC corps members. They should look at improving employment. They should look at creating more companies. They should look at creating more industries for those corps members who are passing out of their camps or passing out of their youth service to go and get engaged, to have their finances met, to have their jobs. Those are the things that the federal government should be looking. They are trying. We know the federal government are trying. But if they want to do this kind of things, they should consult student leaders. We are the first persons that they are supposed to consult to ask us what do you think we should put in place. I'm calling on the youth minister, Olawande Wisdom. He should be the one to call on student leaders, hold meetings with them before going about this kind of new reforms, so that at the end of the day, the students will be carried along. Because a large number of the students now that they are reforming these things for, they are not following up. They are not happy about these reforms because they are not well carried along. In developed nations of the world, before this kind of initiatives are being put in place, there's what we call consultation. You consult student leaders, you consult SUG presidents, you consult the NANS, you consult NISAYA, you consult people who are working with the students. Before you put this kind of reforms, you don't just wake up one morning and just go and place reforms just like that. People who are going to enjoy from those reforms should be consulted. So I think the federal government should think about creating job opportunities rather than just reforming NYSC, because NYSC is not the end of the road.
All right, very well said, Ambassador Lawrence. Thank you so much for joining us on the program this evening.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I think he actually had a lot to say, and well, I don't know about the others, but he definitely spoke my mind. I mean, if you're going to make a reform that affects youth, how are you coming up with these decisions that you are making? Who are you consulting? Of course, it should be no other people or persons other than the youth. Get to know what they want, find out what would work best for them, find out what are the things that are not working and that should be checked, or what they would like to see work. What are the things that they would like to be added to the whole NYSC scheme if we're not looking at it again for a reform. So yes, he did say quite a number of very important things there, which I totally agree with. And of course, the issue of creating more job employment, that's actually very important. We're not really sure if they're also looking into that. We're not sure if they're also looking into that now, but I did see a report where they said, they were going to, broaden the scope in terms of placement, PPA placement. They're going to add more sectors, like the banking sector. So it wouldn't just be school. Many people have the mindset of, if NYSC is going to post you, it's definitely going to be school, secondary school. But so they're trying to bring in more sectors into that, which I think is actually really good.
Yes. That's to compensate for the 6 weeks actually. If there's a better job offer or placement, this will actually compensate for the 6 weeks they are spending. People will be more, eager to go for it. Yeah.
So we are saying, please, we don't understand that the government, of course, have our interests at heart, but we are still looking at how these things can be easier for us. And fingers crossed, we hope that indeed it actually becomes easier for us. Anyways, this is the much we can do on today's episode as we draw the curtains. This has been a production of Yewande Iwoha. And once again, my name is Ose, or you can call me Judylove. And we say bye for now.